Masculinity and femininity was seen as more broad and was not rigid to just be in one way. And still men and women was able to raise their families. I can't be certain if anybody ever used to assume anybody else's sexuality, but they never used to use it to control. Even though most people have a rigid view about masculinity and femininity, and even sexuality as well, most still seem to more likely accept masculine and homosexual traits from women, and least likely to accept feminine and homosexual traits from men. What makes it even worse too is women, especially the ones who would display masculine and homosexual traits, would assume men to be feminine and homosexual in order to keep more people focused on men, which would then cause men to also assume the same thing and would be even more concerned about it. Women use sexuality, shame, and disrespect to control and manipulate men. Most women don't like to see men happy amongst themselves, neither amongst other men. So they changed the meaning of the word gay, which originally meant happy or blissful. Women made it appear as if men who do these things had more interest in each other than in women. Even when it comes to men being too emotional in any way and giving more care and support towards each other. Which is very bad because this is one of the things that increases the chances of men with intention to prove who better rather than fighting with the intention to test each other, which increases the chances of men dying. We see these things is wrong for men to do, otherwise they might eventually become homosexual. But yet we accept all of these same things from women, which is fine, but we also accept women showing more interest in each other and calling each other girlfriends, holding hands, kissing, dancing with each other and whining with each other. Women could easily convince each other to embrace having masculine traits and dress up, talk, act like men. And people would also encourage women to be homosexual and bisexual as well, with the illusion that they need to do these things to escape men's violence. Even though women is the ones who encourage and support being abusive, mentally, verbally, financially, sexually, and physically as well. Any one woman could do all of these things to any one man and could easily get away with it. Yet we pretend as if men is the ones who are against women or hate women, even though men don't say such things. But women do, and encourage other women to hate men, and also men and also to be against each other, which increases crime in society. Men used to dress more attractively, including wearing on high-heel shoes, makeup, nail polish, dress-like and skirt-like garments. These things was not seen as a feminine thing. But even if men dress like normally, like how men dress now with pants, shirts, or jersey, the assumption about men being homosexual and feminine is still there. Who said if they do put on these things as well? But yet most people also accept women putting on these things and also accept women dressing up like men. Even wearing on pants, talking and acting just like men. Even if you can't tell the difference, but it is still not viewed as a problem. Even though men has always fought with each other, it would have been also used as a means to test each other's skills, rather than just fighting to kill, to prove who better than who. It had more aspects of masculinity rather than just being one way. It was also a similar view on femininity as well too, but it still was not good enough for women. They attributed submitting to men as slavery, even though men as the ones that sometimes present themselves as slaves and putting on certain brands to impress women instead of putting on clothes that actually look good. Nowadays, people associate masculinity with working, taking care of the families, protection, which is good traits to have, but it definitely have more to masculinity than just those things. However, when it comes to femininity, we get confused. We view it as being weak, stupid, victim-like or child-like, and women will use these things as a means based on the scenario that they're involved in, even though them as the ones also trying to change the view on femininity as well. And of course, people would more likely support it. However, when it comes to men displaying similar traits, we would view him as being feminine or whatever alternate disrespectful terms we would say. Women for the most part already know these things, so I think it's about time and paying more attention to what it is actually going on and see how you could influence the situation to become better rather than worse. Supporting and caring for other men does not make any man feminine, neither homosexual, regardless of what it is for men. A lot of women nowadays very masculine and will use femininity as a means of advantage over men whenever necessary, and pretend like if men is the one more likely to be like that. Most men does end up submitting to women, and still most don't seem to realize this. This is why they does end up associating negative things with masculinity and positive things with femininity. Women also give this illusion of being perfect and better than men. Even in movies, music, social media, it is encouraged for women to pick up more masculine and homosexual traits. And if men submit to such women, they will end up becoming less attractive and more involved in criminal activity and fighting with other men. Because they can't expect women to pick up more masculine traits and she also to be the ones to protect the home. If men do have freedom to be masculine in every way, you can't depend on women to do the things men have to do in order for society to function. Even with the words LGBT, it is clear that that entire thing is dominated by women. The word gay does be used to describe men and women being homosexual, but still it is seen as more embarrassing for men and disrespectful. Any type of sexual activity women might be involved in, it is also accepted for them to show interest in each other as opposed to men. But people still pretend as if men is the ones more likely to show interest in each other. Women don't even dress up attractively to impress men. They dress like that to be dominant over men because they get influenced by other women to do such things, which causes them to use these makeup, nail polish, high heel shoes in a more masculine way. But I realize these things really seem to be very masculine anyway. Men and women really needs to be aware of the type of influence women can have when it comes to them being jealous and wanting to control and influence others, especially when it comes to relationships. It's of women who know that other women does be jealous and they will still do things to make it even worse. which could cause them to influence your relationship. Women, especially those who call each other girlfriend, will easily get influenced and not enter any relationship with a man. But even if they do, they will still get influenced to destroy the relationship as well, while pretending to make it better. Women does have toxic and abusive relationships with each other, but they usually highlight it when they try to make themselves seem better, and they don't ever highlight it from a general perspective. And they would even blame it on men as well. Women blame men for their bad experiences and say it's because of women they have good experiences, which ties back to them thinking of women as being perfect, and also causes men to also fall for the same thing as well, which is one of the reasons why some men don't mind chasing after women. Men really needs to pay more attention to these things, since women already know, and know that caring and supporting for other men does not mean make any man homosexual. It actually improves things for men personally, and for other men as well, and for women as well to do not have to be worried about how men might treat them, even though they tend to treat men badly and assume worse things about men, and assume good things about women, even when that is not happening. Even to a greater scale, men usually try to impress women using money, power, resources, and go to war over these things and fight for women as well too. But women don't do such things in order to be with men. Women already know how to control men, so the only reason they would be with men for is money, to pick up on more masculine traits, or just for entertaining abuse, meaning them would enjoy abusing men. Even when it comes to certain jobs, some of them are seen as more of a shameful thing or feminine thing for men to do, like beauty, hairdressing, cosmology, modeling, taking care of children, etc. Even though it is not a shameful thing for women to do certain jobs, it is just not possible because of physical differences between men and women. Even though now it is being encouraged for women to dominate more male or masculine oriented jobs, which would result in making things worse in the economy and for people in general, especially when it comes to safety, especially when we're talking about police, fire service, industrial work, and anything centered around safety. If people are really concerned about homosexuality and men picking up on more feminine traits, then we should even be more concerned about homosexuality and masculinity in women, because we don't accept them things from women easily. Men just really need to be more aware and stop being under women's control.